You thought you had all the lore figured out for Security Breach? Think again. This theory will have you question everything you thought you knew about the lore of Security Breach, ranging from the animatronics to the hidden underground secret scooper room. Subscribe and brace yourselves as this is gonna get wild.
Be sure to like and subscribe so you can get notified for upcoming videos.
Before Security Breach even starts, there's a bunch of emails from FNAF AR, and many people just simply overlook these, believing them to be nothing of importance. And that's where they're completely wrong, because in these emails, it actually tells us, and as they put it, had the old vintage animatronics delivered to them, removed all the old casing, and scanned in all the old circuit boards. Now that's how we know how the Glitchtrap made his way into the system, but there's something extremely important to note here. It wasn't just Glitchtrap, they scanned all the old animatronics. And where did they get these animatronics from and delivered from? The old burned down FNAF 6 pizzeria. And if William Afton's consciousness now becomes digital as Glitchtrap in the system, who's to say all the other victims in the other animatronics can't do the same thing? I mean, if Glitchtrap can do it, so can the others, right? And if there was any doubt that these animatronics which they took apart wasn't haunted, in an email it actually says that one of the workers actually said that they swore they saw Bonnie eat the shop's resident stray cat. But we'll come back to the vintage animatronics later on. Let me continue on the Mega Pizzaplex. And as we know, the Mega Pizzaplex's main mascot is actually Glamrock Freddy, which also include Glamrock Chica, Montgomery Gator, and Roxanne Wolf, with various staff bots, caution bots, the daycare attendant, DJ Music Man. Now, have you ever actually thought what powers these animatronics, or what powers this huge Mega Pizzaplex? I mean, we know the robots recharge every hour, or so we thought, because we know Freddy goes a huge amount of time without a recharge station, and the animatronics in Ruin don't seem to recharge at all. We know Freddy misses a recharge cycle, is completely immobile, and then somehow gets a second wind. Same thing goes for Roxy in Ruin. She gets completely deactivated, but somehow manages to come back from being deactivated, completely crushed by a boulder, to save Cassie, just in the nick of time. Something isn't quite right here. And all this will eventually become clear, because as we know in Ruin, sometime after Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Place, or FNAF 6 burned down, this remains sunk down into a sinkhole. Eventually the Mega Pizzaplex will be built on top of the sinkhole, but who in their right mind would build on top of a sinkhole? That just doesn't make any sense. Any structural engineer in the world will tell you that is a completely bad idea. But there is obviously some hidden reason why they did this, and I think I figured out why. And this is why I think we've been looking at Security Breach all wrong. Let's go back to them original animatronics being scanned into the system. We know that's how Glitchtrap gets in there, but what are the souls inside of these vintage animatronics that they've scanned in? Wouldn't they also go into the system? I mean, we know Cassidy is in Princess Quest. Surely that's how she made her way in there. But what about the other victims and the other souls? Are they still around the Pizzaplex and now inside the system digitally, trying to find their way into the other animatronics? I mean, it could explain the sudden change in personality with Freddy, his ability to now not need a recharge station anymore. And if you want to know the full details on all of this, I did a video a few days ago and it fully goes into detail. I highly recommend checking it out after this. I mean, it kind of moves the MCI victims into this newer area, this digital area with Glitchtrap. But I'm only just really getting started, because that might have you questioning the lore, the souls, the sentience of these Glamrocks. Especially in Ruin, because we see the animatronics and they've been there months without presumably a recharge station because it's all destroyed. And one of the biggest things for me was the inclusion of that hidden ending, that scooper room ending. It had so many people puzzled, but I think I've actually worked it out. You see, everyone thought that this was the scooper from Sister Location at first, because obviously Sister Location had a scooper where they scooped Mike, who obviously we also see at Mike's room, well, a replica of Mike's room hidden way into the Pizzaplex. So many people believe that Sister Location was actually below the Pizzaplex. I don't believe this to be the case, because it's a completely different room, a completely different scooper, a more advanced injector of Remnant, believe it or not, and there's actually reports of Fazbear Entertainment's logo being in this room. Now, if Fazbear Entertainment's logo is in this room, I can't seem to find it myself, but if we have found it after this recording, it'll be on screen now, because obviously we know the FNAF 6 pizzeria is below the Mega Pizzaplex, so it'd be an assumption, and a pretty good one, that Henry would have built that scooper room in FNAF 6. But if Fazbear Entertainment's logos all over that room, that would mean that Fazbear Entertainment made it, and that changes everything. And why would they be making a scooper, and one specifically to inject Remnant? Well, I believe I found the answer. Now, as we know from the Tales from the Pizzaplex books and the non-canon endings, or could be canon endings at this stage, who really knows, we know more kids go missing and have been going missing at the Mega Pizzaplex. We also know that in that scooper room, there's huge vats of what looks to be like liquid nitrogen. And throughout throughout the various zones in the Pizzaplex, we also see large vats backstage, the maintenance area, huge vats/drums of unknown materials. And something else which is extremely interesting, in that scooper room, we also come across sulfuric acid. Sulfuric acid is used in car batteries, and at the same time can help dissolve anything which goes inside of it, i.e. any body parts left over. And now the wheels really start turning, because why would they be having a remnant injector, all this acid? Well, my theory is the fact that they're actually creating a remnant farm. I know. And the reason they're using remnant is actually to power the animatronics batteries. But what Fazbear Entertainment didn't realize is that the remnant they were using, obviously from these children, from their victims, whoever it might be, was slowly starting to fuse with the animatronic, just like in the original Five Nights at Freddy's, making them become sentient. Like we see with Freddy, he no longer needs a recharge station. The same thing happens with Roxy. She's completely deactivated, crushed by a massive boulder, but eventually the soul of the remnant they used in her battery activates with Roxy. She's able to now function without any type of power, because the soul is now powering her. That's why she goes and saves Cassie. Fazbear Entertainment thought that by using remnant in the animatronics, they would be more lifelike, more fantastic, the next generation in Fazbear Entertainment, able to power them for long durations. But they completely missed the fact that the remnant they were using from these victims was going to possess the animatronics. And that's exactly what happens with William Afton. He was using remnant in his experiments and didn't count on the souls of his victims coming back to attack him. But we're not done there. Remember when I said about the vintage animatronics and how their circuit boards were scanned into the system, very much like Glitchtrap? Now, if these vintage animatronics, as it says in the email, are now scanned into the system, surely they can possess other animatronics as well, or go into the arcade machines like Cassidy did. They would also know that Glitchtrap/William Afton is still around, but they're all in now a digital realm. If you take Ruin, for example, everything is basically going digital with a Vanny mask, this augmented reality. The theory of them now being inside the network as well, because they were scanned in, the evidence was there, now starts to make sense. They're still continuing the story, but with added elements in a digital world. They're no longer bound to the old analog suits, they're now into the more advanced animatronics, the ones which can interface with the digital network inside the Pizzaplex. It makes you start to think more about the story, about what Fazbear Entertainment were really up to with their remnant farm, using remnant as a source of battery power, ways to make their animatronics toys more fantastic. But there is something potentially wrong with this theory. But what if Henry actually built that scooper room in the FNAF 6 pizzeria? I mean, he built the FNAF 6 pizzeria, right? Along with Mike, who we play as, and we find the scooper in the FNAF 6 sinkhole. He could have built that scooper just in case the burning ending didn't work on Afton and tried to scoop out his remains. But that doesn't make sense, because this scooper is more an injector than scooping out the insides. So although there is a theory to say that Henry did build that scooper in the FNAF 6 pizzeria, I don't believe that to be the case. I think Fazbear Entertainment still built this room. And obviously in the bad ending where Gregory leaves the Pizzaplex, Fazbear Entertainment continue their experiments and the kids still go missing, as we see the kids' missing posters in the paper, indicating children are still going missing. And where would they be going missing? Downstairs in this remnant farm. We even know Vanny herself cleared the way with Freddy and the gang, because of Freddy's dialogue when he says,
"I found myself for the first time when I cleared the path."
Remember? I mean, the vats of sulfuric acid, the cryogenic liquid nitrogen vats as well, it all starts to make sense. I mean, the Glamrock's becoming sentient, not even needing recharge or battery anymore. That's a clear sign of possession, even told to us in the books with Stitch Riff. But there is one whole thing which still confuses me at the end of this, and that's Freddy. Freddy says he finds himself for the first time in the abandoned FNAF 6 pizzeria. Does he mean that he found himself when he went down there as a spirit, or did he find himself in the scooper room when he was injected with remnant? Either way, it would mean a soul possessing him, but who? Everyone seems to think it's Michael. But then if Michael's soul was possessing him, that would imply that Michael had died, right? But everything in the Pizzaplex seems to suggest that Michael is still alive. We have Michael's room, clues seemingly left by Michael. We don't see Michael's body after the end of FNAF 6. FNAF 3 even tells us that fire doesn't even move the spirits on because they come back. So if Michael's still alive, who would be possessing Glamrock Freddy? And that, my friends, is a theory for another day, and something I've touched on this video here, so I highly recommend checking it out. Along with who would be possessing Chica, what she says when she's actually dismantled, and why would she be crying. Thank you for watching till the very end. I'm Twisted from Twisted Animatronic. Stay safe out there, superstars.
Twisted Animatronic is my superstar.